constitution was finally a compromise. It was still a work in progress. There are several areas which still need to be looked at, particularly the devolution chapter. But in the devolution, we talked about equity in sharing of resources in our country. Not equality. Equity in sharing of resources in our country. That means you actually take count of the numbers of the people where they are. Now, members of the press, as you have already been told, this is a delegation that has come from that conference that you call Limuru 3. I'm accompanied here by one of my deputies, Honorable Paranya, and I'm also here with the deputy chairman of our party, Governor Simbarati, and there are several other honorable members of parliament of ODM who are here. This delegation came to present to us a report of the meeting that was held in Limuru, known as Limuru 3. And as you know, there was a lot of discussions about Limuru 3, whether it should take place or not, whether it was going to unite or divide the people of Kenya. But having listened to them, before we came here, I'm convinced that the Limuru 3 is one of these discussions that we need to have in this country, across the length and breadth of our country. We fought very hard to introduce freedom of expression and association in our country. As you know, we came from an era of a single-party dictatorship where expressions and dissent were completely banned. We brought in this new constitution which gives Kenyans the fundamental right of expression and association. And this is something must be selflessly guarded by the Kenyan people. We have had conversation for a long time. I actually gave them a kind of a summary of our history as a people, where we came from and how we came together, about the struggle for independence of our country, and why this area was unique, where particularly we had the armed struggle, because this was one of the areas which was settled by the white men, and they had to take up arms in order to be able to liberate themselves and get back their land. But the rest of the other Kenyans joined this struggle. So it became a Kenyan people's struggle, the nationalist struggle, that eventually forced the British to hand over independence to our people. As the founding father used to say, "Atukupeo uhuru, tulinyakua." Uhuru tulinyakua. Tulinyakua, and we must selflessly guard this independence that we won from the British. Now, this new constitution again came as a result of a very long and also bloody struggle. You know, we came from an era of a single-party dictatorship that had criminalized political association and freedom of expression. Eventually, we managed to remove Section 2A and finally bring in a new constitution in 2010. But this new constitution was finally a compromise. It was still a work in progress. There are several areas which still need to be looked at, particularly the devolution chapter. But in the devolution, we talked about equity in sharing of resources in our country. Not equality, equity in sharing of resources in our country. That means you actually take count of the numbers of the people where they are, because the services are primarily, first and foremost, to the people. So one of the points that was discussed extensively during these deliberations in Limuru, according to information that we now have, is this issue of resource sharing of our country. Somehow this thing has been misrepresented as if it is discriminating against other parts of our country. Nothing could be further from the truth. It is not a question of discrimination. We want to ensure that each and every Kenyan gets a fair share of resources created by our sweat. This is what it is. It cannot be right that some children should get more money as bursary than other children in other parts of the country. And I think this is a conversation which, if we have it openly, in a open dialogue, we'll be able to convince majority of our people that this is the right way to go. And that's why in the PBI we had proposed it. We proposed it. Some people don't want to hear it. But we want to ensure that each and every Kenyan is fairly treated, equally treated. And that's why we're saying, you agree with this phrase that is one man, one vote, one shilling. I agree totally with this. I'm never a populist. I always talk with my mind openly. I know that it may not be very popular in some quarters, but let us have this conversation. As a people, let us have this conversation. Secondly, Kenyans are hurting, but I'm going to talk about that on another occasion, not today. But know that Kenyans are hurting seriously currently, and the proposals which are contained in the finance bill are going to add a lot of burden on the people of Kenya. And that's why I'm going to speak about that separately. But here, I want to thank them for coming to share this report with us, and we wish them luck in whatever they're doing as a people. Kenyans must stand together as one people. Let us unite as one people to ensure that we guard very selflessly the gains that we have already made, and unite also so that we can continue to open up the democratic space for our people, for the future generation. I thank you.
Thank you. Asante sana. Do you have any question? We're only going to take 2 questions. We start with you, Brian. Come. Step forward. Just come. Your media house and the name.
Right Honorable, my name is Brian Mushiri of NTV. On the issue of one man, one vote, one shilling, and a day or two ago, Honorable Jeremiah Kioni came out to say that Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua has now seen the light. On this push of one man, one vote, one shilling, if there is that push, are you willing to work with Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua?
Well, I'm working with everybody in this country, nobody specifically. President Gachagua is a member of the government, and as you know, yesterday the government pledged that they are going to support my bid for AU, and I said hewala. I thank them. So he is seen the light. His soul was now become a Paul. Thank you very much.
Okay, last one.
Your Excellency, my name is Apollo TV47. Yesterday you spoke about some friends who came to you in your AU quest. Does the friends include former President Uhuru Kenyatta?
request for AUC.
Friends are friends. Friends are friends. And he approves 100%.
Maybe the last one.
Thank you. My name is Vincent Mumo from Citizen TV. I know you said you will address this in a different forum, but Kenyans are really eager to hear the official statement or the official position of the ODM party on the finance bill, and also the strategy that ODM is going to employ in the parliament, because that is where the real struggle is. Thank you.
We have leadership in parliament. They are going to talk about the strategy that they will deploy. But I would say that I'm going to talk about that issue at another forum. Okay?
Thank you. Asanteni sana. Okay.